The prize was delivered to Tom with as much effusion as the superintendent could pump under the circumstances. But it lacked somewhat of the true gush, for the poor fellow's instinct taught him that there was a mystery here that could not well bear the light. He's a little suspicious. He's like, I know this Tom Sawyer, and I know there's something weird going on here. Perhaps it was simply preposterous that this boy had warehoused 2,000 sheaves of scriptural wisdom on his premises. Just a dozen or 12 would strain his capacity without a doubt. Amy Lawrence, this is the old crush, right? She was proud and glad, and she tried to make Tom see it in her face, but he wouldn't look. She wondered, then she was just a grain troubled. Next, a dim suspicion came and went, and came again. She watched, and a furtive glance told her worlds. Oh, she's watching Tom staring at Becky. And then, when she realized that he was in love with the other girl now, her heart broke, and she was jealous and angry, and the tears came, and she hated everybody. Tom most of all, she thought. Okay, so off to the side over there, I wrote Amy with a broken heart, okay, because this is where she realizes that Tom has moved on. Tom was introduced to the judge, but his tongue was tied, his breath would hardly come, his heart quaked, partly because of the awful greatness of the man, but mainly because he was her parent. He would have liked to fall down and worship him if it were in the dark. The judge put his hand on Tom's head and called him a fine little man and asked him what his name was. The boy stammered, gasped, and finally got out, it's Tom. Oh, no, not Tom. It's actually Thomas. Ah, that's it. I thought there was more to it, maybe. That's very well. But you've got another name, I dare say, and you'll tell it to me, won't you? Tell the gentleman your other name, Thomas, said Walters, and say sir. You mustn't forget your manners. Thomas Sawyer, sir. That's it. That's a good boy. Fine, manly little fellow. 2,000 verses is a great many. A very, very great many. And you never can be sorry for the trouble you took to learn them, for knowledge is worth more than anything there is in the world. It's what makes great men and good men. You'll be a great man and a good man yourself someday, Thomas. Then you'll look back and say, it's all owing to the precious Sunday school privileges of my boyhood. It's all owing to my dear teachers that taught me to learn. It's all owing to the good superintendent who encouraged me and watched over me and gave me a beautiful Bible, a splendid, elegant Bible, to keep and have it all for my own always. It's all owing to right bringing up. That is what you will say, Thomas, and you wouldn't take any money for those 2,000 verses. No, indeed you wouldn't. And now, you wouldn't mind telling me and this nice lady here some of the things you've learned. No, I know you wouldn't, for we are proud of little boys that learn. Now, no doubt you know the names of all the 12 disciples. Won't you tell us the name of the first 2 that were appointed? Okay, so what's the problem here? The problem is Tom didn't actually memorize those verses, okay? He cheated his way to getting the tickets for the Bible. So, well, yes, he's getting his prize, and yes, he's getting the glory and fame he wanted. Now he's being put on the spot in front of all the crowd, in front of his old love Amy, his new love Becky, Becky's father, his superintendent, all the teachers, everyone. He's now being asked a question that he can't answer. Tom was tugging at a buttonhole and looking sheepish. He blushed now, and his eyes fell. Mr. Walter's heart sank within him. Why? Because he realizes that Tom's not going to be able to answer the question. He said to himself, it is not possible that the boy can answer the simplest question. Why did the judge ask him? Yet he felt obliged to speak up and say, answer the gentleman, Thomas. Don't be afraid. Tom still hung fire. Now, I know you'll tell me, said the lady, Bless her heart, she thinks he's just scared. The names of the first 2 disciples were David and Goliath. Let us draw the curtain of charity over the rest of this scene. Okay, what this means is this. All of a sudden, you have to imagine what it was like when he screamed out David and Goliath. Nowhere even close to the first 2 disciples. Okay, nowhere even close. He just spit out the first 2 names he could think of. So when it says, let us draw the curtain, it's kind of like at the end of a play when they pull down the curtain, meaning it's over. He says this because let's consider how embarrassed Tom is and let's not talk about it anymore. Okay, so this is one of my favorite chapters because Tom completely gets caught in his own game. And you have to imagine Mr. Walters is just like, smacking his forehead saying, why? Why me? Why of all days for Tom Sawyer to get a Bible, does it have to be the day that Judge Thatcher is visiting my classroom? Okay, so really great chapter, but hopefully this was helpful.